Yeah, so a whole hour dedicated to a craft on Craft Academy, and this particular craft today is none other than Pergamano. The lovely Rosella is my guest, and we've never actually worked together before,
no,
so this is a real journey
time.
of discovery for me, which I'm loving, and it's nice to be able to just sit down and see all these different techniques.
Well, it is, because we don't normally get to do this, do we?
No.
But we've been asked often, oh, can you show a little bit more? How do you do this? How do you do that? We get lots and lots of questions through email, so it's really nice to actually address those questions.
Now, another very popular form of using Pergamano, or enjoying the craft, is of course embossing. That's one of the most popular, isn't it?
It is. So do you mind if I have
Absolutely.
my little bits and pieces back? So what I'm going to show us, I'm going to choose the pencil one, which is this one. So I'm actually going to use it, I'm going to emboss on the back, and I'm going to perforate from the front, and for beginners that's what I'd recommend. Once you get a little bit more involved in embossing, sometimes we emboss from the front if you would like the curve to become that way. And the other reason is that I find it easy to rub it out.
Okay.
So if you do it on the front, it's really not the end of the world.
Can I ask you about the mat? Because I've not seen one of those before. It's a rubberised mat, isn't it?
It is, it's silicone.
Oh, silicone.
Yeah,
right,
and
okay.
it's really flexible, it's very flat, so it's really comfortable to use, and it's a nice size. You can get your entire project on that, so it's my favourite.
And your project doesn't slip?
It doesn't slip.
Right.
The tumble dry sheet we had at the beginning, all we do with that is give it a quick whiz over, and it just helps the embossing tools. And again, likewise with our Pergasoft, it's a good idea just to have that out.
So this is what, to stop friction? Or?
Yes,
Right.
yeah, that's right, to help the tools. So we're going to start with this tool, which is a shader. I find this a really, really easy tool to use. The reason being that, actually I'll do it on the side there, it gives automatic shade. We're just doing these little flicks. I don't know whether we're going to be able to see this. Where's my black card gone?
So just a flicking technique?
Yeah, can you see that? And it automatically gives you that shade, as it says. It's a shader. So I find it a really, really easy tool to use. So perhaps if people are really heavy-handed at the start, it's perhaps good to try this one. Because
would you recommend having like a little scrap of parchment just by your side to have a go before you go onto the main?
Definitely, particularly if you're tracing as well, which I should have said, because then just to check that your pen's running at just as you want it to, and it's not going to blob or anything.
Right.
So just as we did there, I'm just going to do little flicks, and I'm going to do them from the outside of the petals inwards. And the reason being on this is that because I'm actually going to erase these petal lines, if I do it from the centre outwards, I'm going to end up with no edge, and it's just going to be strange blobs.
If you haven't actually got a mat like you've got, could you use like a mouse mat, or is that too spongy?
No, you won't get very good results at all.
Right.
Invest in an embossing mat, because you're only going to get it once,
Yeah,
so you
sure.
may as well.
It's not going to run out of.
It isn't, no. This is a great one actually, because it comes in a tube, so it's really nice. I stack my inks up in the tube to keep them safe.
Oh, okay.
So think of these storage ideas whilst you're travelling.
Why not?
So I'm just gently. Now what we're going to do with parchment is, ideally, you need to let it rest. So we would go over this entire design and then pop off for a cup of tea, if that's okay.
Rest? Why do you let it rest?
What it does is it stretches the fibres in the paper,
Right.
and then they retract slightly. But when you go back to it, then you'll get it a lot whiter and a lot easier. So
right.
it just improves it no end.
So this is step one of a couple of steps?
That's right, yeah. So if you can, I mean, if you really don't want to, what I tend to do is perhaps have two projects on the go, and I swap from one to the other.
Okay. And how long would you rest it for?
An hour if you could, really.
Right.
So not very long. By the time you'd actually gone to another one.
Well, I suppose if you're doing quite a big image, then by the time you've gone round that side, it might be ready to do on the other side.
Yeah,
so.
you're probably ready to go back anyway.
Right.
So I've done that with the shader. I'm going to move down to a ball tool. This is a 3mm ball tool now, and I'm going to do the smaller flower, but it's exactly the same technique. So it's as if I'm striking a match. So little tiny flicks, and you can do this either towards you or away from you, whatever is most comfortable. I'm going to actually get my kitchen roll. I'm going to get a dry bit of kitchen roll, she says, with confidence. There is one here, yeah, there we go. And I'm just going to put it under my hand there. And keep turning your parchment so that it's comfortable.
Right, yeah.
Don't try and turn your hand, because this should be...
You don't have to be double jointed.
You don't have to be double jointed, and you don't have to press on hard. A lot of people are under the misconception that you've got to really, really go for it. So I could go from this, and then I could go and write my name, and it would be exactly the same pressure.
Do you know what? I'm really quite tempted by this. I don't know if you are as well. And certainly I can think of members of my family that would be very into this too. Well, because I've got a mother, bless her, that doesn't like anything that smells and is messy and things like that. Yeah. This is a really lovely, very pleasant and peaceful craft, isn't it?
It is, and it's a talker. I do like a talker.
Yeah, yeah.
So apart from when we get to the grid work and we have to do a bit of counting, for the rest of it, you can have a chat whilst you're doing. So it's a nice sociable craft. We like sociable crafts.
So when you get to the grid work, that's where the tongue comes out.
That's when we start drooling. But yeah, that's not going to be nice. Don't put the camera on me for that bit, whatever you do.
I'm glad you did the same as me.
Oh, absolutely. So for my leaves, I'm going to use this large tool again, and I'm just working my way around. Now for my leaves, because I want to give them some form, but I don't want to draw a heavy vein in, what I tend to do is on one side of the leaf, I emboss from the outside inwards, leaving a little bit of a gap for the veins, and on the other side, I emboss from the inside outwards.
Right.
And I'm going to do the last one, and then I'll show you what I mean by that. And we'll have a bit more detail on these in a minute, but can you see there that we've automatically got a little bit of a vein going in there, a central vein, and once we've embossed it more, that will become even clearer.
Does where the light come from affect how you shade it or not really?
Yes, if you can understand how to do that and you think it's going to enhance the design, by all means, but to be honest, if you've got some light and dark in there, it's going to look great anyway.
Right.
So don't worry about it. No. I'm going to then move down my tool again because I just want to do these small flowers, and I'm just going to do little pointy bits on those just to give them a bit of a difference to the other flowers.
This is a lovely sized project to start with as well, isn't it? If you start with something too big, perhaps it can be a bit daunting.
Yes.
But something this size is manageable, it's like a bite size.
That's right. And we're going to work down a tool size again. I'm just going to pop those stems in there. Again, be quite free with them. And then I want to do the centres of my flowers. And for this, I want to use a technique called stippling. So I've got a very small tool here. It's a 0.5. We call it a fine stylus. And all I'm going to do is little dots.
Oh, okay. Being careful not to pierce the parchment.
Well, that's the great thing about this. With this mat, it's really difficult to do that. Now, previously, we've had sort of spongier mats, and that's been the worry that we're actually going to go through. But actually, you can give this quite a bit of welly. But I'm just doing it very gently to start with, because we're just going through that stretching process, even with the stippling as well.
Is that one of the finest tools that you own?
This is the finest one, yeah. Yeah, so it's really nice for that final detail. Once we've done all our embossing, then we can go and get some real fine detail on it.
Is your house full of framed parchment?
No, actually, it
isn't. I thought it would be.
No,
up the stairs.
I think because I like to give it away.
Oh, okay.
But no, isn't that funny? It's framed up all other, there's paintings and tapestries and things, but not parchment.
So your work is in everybody else's house
Absolutely,
except your own?
Yes. So that's our first, let me give you that again. So that's our first pass, as it were.
Look at this. Isn't this just beautiful? Can you see why it's such a popular craft? And I can also understand why possibly when people look at and think about taking up Pergamano, they get a little bit nervous about it. It looks so clever and it looks so artistic that you may think, well, I don't know if I can do it or not. Everybody can do this.
Absolutely, because this is as hard as it gets, stroking the paper with an embossing tool, it's just so much fun to do. So this one I've actually let rest. I did this earlier today, so this has been resting for a while now. So I'm just going to now continue, and we'll be able to compare it to that one in a moment, and you'll see how much whiter it will become.
So this is the shader tool again that you're using?
Yeah, so for the first time, after it's rested, I'm going to go back to the tool that I used previously, so that it's really soft and gentle. If you really emboss very hard and press on really hard, you'll end up buckling your parchment.
Right.
So that's why we like to let it rest.
So the technique again that you're doing here is like a flicking technique?
That's right. So I've got more pressure on the start there, and I'm just releasing that pressure. Can we see that?
Yep.
And then that just gives us that shading towards the centre.
Looking lovely.
Okay, so we can see then that it's actually quite a lot darker, whiter.
Yeah. So after you've rested it for an hour, that's when you get the more intense white coming through.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So that's our shading, using the ball tools and the various other tools, of course, as well.
Can I show you a finished sample on that one? There we go, because this is one I prepared earlier in Best Academy fashion. So that's what it's going to look like when we've actually embossed it a little bit further.
Look at that. Isn't that lovely? It wouldn't take you long to do this either. After you've rested it for an hour, that's really the only amount of time you have to worry about it. And you could end up with results just like this. That could be a lovely centerpiece to a card. It could be something that you're intended to put in a little frame, give maybe as a little keepsake to a friend. It's stunning, absolutely beautiful. And it's all part, of course, of this hour of the Craft Academy featuring Pergamano.